Hello.
Hey, Anastasios. How you doing?
Hello.
So Greg mentioned that him and Ruching might not be able to join today because they're actually meeting in person, which is really cool. So we, yeah, well, I guess we can wait a minute or so. Let me try and find the right screen to share, which is always a challenge. Bit low on numbers. I guess we'll give it another minute. Okay, we don't have quorum, but we're 4 minutes past, so I guess we can get started and see what we can get through. So I guess reviewing the actions from the previous meeting. Um, so we had the one about the DNS problems with the Docker test. I did do some investigation and tried a couple of approaches to try and fix the problem, but neither of them worked. So we got the oh, I've marked the wrong one. We got the PR merged, so they're not on the required list, so they're not holding anything up anymore. Fabiano had an action to create the Helm chart that got merged this morning. So that one is completed. We wanted Aurelian to review the Taplow PR, but he's not around and he hasn't looked at it. So we'll carry that one forward. Okay, so I guess we want to look through releases. We said we'd aim to release, well, we'd make a call after this meeting. We want to understand what outstanding issues or PRs there is. There's one from the Cocoa side to bump trustee and guest components. There is a regression in this, in the guest components messaging is somewhat non-existent. So you used to get errors um, related to what went wrong. So our negative test cases would look for specific things. They are all hidden in the latest one. Tobin has kind of agreed that that will be fixed very soon in the next release cycle. It does only impact um, negative, so failure cases. It's not ideal, to be honest, but they, yeah, they want to do a Coco release based on this, and they've said they need this bump. So, um, yeah, if people have strong opinions on that, then we can push back. But otherwise, we need another reviewer for that. And I guess we got the Helm Doc PRs Funko that we still want to get that one in.
Yeah, now that we have the push to registry there, I can update this PR
Cool. Right.
and then we are
So
ready to go.
couple of things. So maybe we'll look at Friday or maybe Monday, depending on how we get on for the release. There is a little bit of risk related to this Helm chart OCI push. It's a release update. I personally don't think there's a significant likelihood of failure. Fabiano is a little bit concerned, and it's not something that we can simply test. So yeah, we'll just make sure. I've already arranged with him. I'm on the rota to do the release, and I've said that I would find a time that he is also available. So if there is a any issues, we can try and battle them together. So
Yeah,
say,
I suggested maybe to have a variable where we can switch from release, a real release and a fake release. So if we are adding things um, to the workflow, that we might have that we can test the complete release
mm,
workflow, but do not just push just omit the last step, something like that, so that we can check those manual to have another manual trigger on a feature branch for the release where we can set, let's say, fake release yes, so that not all actions are done or the important one are omitted, but we could test the complete workflow. So yeah, let me create an issue on that and then follow up with that.
yeah, we definitely had a discussion about that. So I don't know if we already have an issue for it, but we talked about it in an AC meeting. Um, but yes, yeah, absolutely agree. Maybe it was in last year, and it only feels like it was recently to me because I'm getting old.
Release
Mm,
testing.
yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I agree. Definitely in future that would be a good improvement to have. But yeah, we're not in. Yeah, it's not super high risk. If it was, then yeah, we could do a kind of a staging test release, which we've done before. We've put it on a topic branch where we've made it kind of a prefix release with a do not use and then deleted it afterwards. That's not great, but it's yeah, it's an approach. So yeah, cool. Yeah, so hey Richard, thanks for joining. Um, so yeah, any last problems or issues or PRs that people think needs to go in, then yeah, please shout. We do have one more security one that's on the list. Um, uh, there's a high priority CVE. It's in Dragon Ball and Runtime RS. So it's not picked up by dependent bot. It's something that some internal scanning tools had. So if that goes in, that'd be great. as well, but it's not super high. And I think Chatteria is asking Marcus to re-review it anyway. Okay, so it looks like all of the topics today are from me. So apologies um, if I'm doing lots of talking. Maybe I'll shuffle some of these around priority-wise as well. Just so I guess the Rust version might be um, pressing. We had a little bit of discussion on this last week. Um, I think the consensus was we would bump it post 3.17 release. Um, so to give all the downstream people who wanted the back level that last release to pick things up on. Um, and then I guess the question is what version we would be looking to pick up. So I put three options in. There's obviously more options on top of that, but we had a copying the cloud hypervisor rules set. We said bump the version if there was a security fix that needed to go in. Was one of the rules. I can't remember. I think there was one more, but then the last one is if the release was more than 6 months old. So I think 0.83 is now 6 months old, so we could pick that version up. The other one of the other suggestions, I think Zvonko, you said was taking a kind of N-2 or N-1 approach here. So that would be 8.1.85 or 1.86, or Fabiano was suggesting that we go for the latest. Well, we go for the stable version, i.e., which is I guess it is the latest release, but they've got a beta. So 1.88 is in beta and 1.89 is in nightly at the moment. It's how the Rust community run it. So I appreciate we don't have a full gamut of the community here, but I don't know if we can come to any form of consensus, in which case, or if we need a kind of Slack communication with the wider community. So does anyone have any thoughts or preference on which approach we take? Okay, maybe I'll create a Slack poll. I hope it's just not my speakers stop working. Um,
I can still hear you.
Great.
I just don't have a strong preference, but I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea to reach out to the community as well to give a heads up so everyone's aware what's happening, whatever the decision is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe just like, but it's just a personal preference. Like I always think it's better to go with the latest compiler. If
Mhm.
I mean, I understand that there are some limitations possible, like operating system versions or whatever. In our case, it might be downstream limitations, but I think we should go with as recent compiler as possible. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't speak for Red Hat here because I don't have any idea.
Yep.
Steve, you mentioned last time that you're going to have this meeting with IBM and Red Hat, right? On this very issue, on
Yeah, so
how.
we had a discussion with the Red Hat team, and yeah, I'm not sure we necessarily got to a conclusion, but there was agreement. My understanding was there is agreement that we could push forward upstream, and if they needed a back level version, then that would be handled downstream. So
Okay, then I would join Fabiano and say let's just bump it to this latest stable.
yeah, and I think the fact that there is only one stable version probably suggests that that's a good approach to take in terms of fixes and support and stuff. The policy we're taking with the Go runtime, we said we wanted to stay on the oldest stable version because they have two versions that are stable at a time, whereas Rust only really has one version that's stable. So, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't think we want to get to the point of just putting stable as the version. I think we still want to pin a specific version, even though that might mean we have to bump it ourselves. But I think that makes sense.
Did we introduce Rust toolchain YAML file in all the projects?
We did. We've got a global one.
Oh yeah, remember. Okay.
So yeah, here. So we can just that's where I'm
Okay.
suggesting rather that we don't make this stable, but we put like 1.87.0 if that's the decision we end up with, just because at least we can control and we won't accidentally get broken by something coming in. I think that's the best approach.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you see Rujing's chat message that he would like to be assigned for the bump?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine when it happens, Ruching. Very, very welcome. Hopefully it's not as painful as the 180 bump. I don't think it should be because we did have a PR. I think Ryan created one for a Rust bump to 186. So yeah, it wasn't too bad in terms of fixes required. Not like when we went to 180 and I think I had like 38 commits in that one. So yes, but yeah, routing, that's fine.
Yeah, once we bump it to the stable, we can also introduce Cargo Miri, which is a tool for detecting undefined behavior tool for Rust. So for all static checks, which, yeah, that's why I've been always in favor of bumping the Rust toolchain because we get all the neat new tools in there. Okay, let me, this is an AI as well, quick release and
Cool.
Cargo Miri.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's good. Cool. Yeah, we'll work on that. Next thing I wanted to know is, well, I wanted to talk about is the GitHub rules. So, based off October's VPTG, we updated the kind of governance rules around who is in the committer, the admin, and the owners list, because we've got a lot of people who aren't recent contributors. Yeah, I wanted to understand when we're gonna action this. So I guess Ildiko, do you have any idea or expectation?
You mean when to do the cleanup or?
Yeah, the update of the groups.
If you all feel ready, I'm happy to go and execute.
Yeah, so as I mentioned last week, I've got some tooling I'm working on to generate the list of people to be removed from committers, but I mean, that's not been reviewed. So we obviously want to make sure that the list of people we're removing is published before that happens for committers, for have a chance for people to express any concerns they have. But in terms of the owners and admins, I think that's doesn't need any tooling. It's just the AC go into it. Let me just double check what we agreed. We said that, yeah, the admins would consist of the architecture committee and potentially some extra people that we agree on to add to a specific purpose, like managing the CI. Similarly, the owners group, we said community manager and the architecture committee. And again, if we need anyone particularly extra on top of that, we could vote for that. So I think these ones we can just action based on these rules. I don't think there's any we need a review status of that at this point.
Do we currently have people in the optionally approved group, just so that I don't remove people who should still be there?
So
Is there a
we
way
just
for me to figure that out? Is what I'm asking, I guess.
yeah, so we've not voted for anyone to be in that because we've not had a vote in terms of owners. Like most of the AC is not an owner, so yeah, that's why I can't go in and action any of this. So we've got a bunch of people in here, but the vast majority of these are not involved in the project anymore. So I think the only person probably who we would remove who is still active under those rules, who's still actively, I guess we've got two, would be Fabiano and Tao.
I can leave them in and
I
replace
would suggest that we take them out and then we go through the process of voting to add them. But it might be worth giving a heads up to just let them know.
I can put in a message to Kata Dev that I will start the cleanup in the owner and admin groups. And that first step is to make sure that the AC is there. And then from there, we will add additional people as required, something along these lines, and then with a channel ping, and hopefully that will be enough.
I think that makes sense. So that, yeah, and I guess the admins is a similar, probably only the similar group of people. Magnus is somewhat involved. I think he was, when we had GARM runners and stuff, he was involved in helping the CI with that. I'm not sure we even have any GARM runners left, so he probably doesn't need to be an admin, but obviously if we find that he does, we can have an AC vote to add that. So cool, that sounds good. Any other thoughts or comments on this one?
Does it work if I send out the message today and either do the cleanup tomorrow or Monday, just so that everyone has a minute to digest? Or do you think I should just go ahead right after?
No, that's fine. I think we've been waiting for about a year to get the AC on the owners list, so there's not a huge rush. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. At least we will see who feels that they're active and they should be in there. So that might be an input for the AC as well on who to either leave in there or add back soon after the first step of the cleanup is done.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, and then once these are done, I think the committers cleanup we can do following on from that. I think obviously committers have ability to push PRs and write access and stuff, which is somewhat of a security risk, but not as much as the owners. So yeah, just if people aren't aware, the motivation here is not that we don't trust people who were in the community and who have left it. We just want to reduce the surface area. So if any of our accounts did get hacked, which hopefully two-factor authentication will prevent, we would lower the risk, and I think it's just good practice in the community to reduce the number of people who've got such extreme power on the repo. I can't open that list. Unfortunately, my browser seems to have died. Cool. So the next topic I wanted to talk about is Dependabot. So yeah, big thank you to folks who've been helping me with reviewing security bumps. We've got ourselves in a much better situation than we were about a couple of months ago. We had 135 security vulnerabilities, including quite a few that were high. So I've done a lot of work in getting that number down a lot. There are still quite a few. Some of these towards the top, like the protobuf one, because of the restriction that we're currently tied to ImageRS, we have to stay in sync with them, so we can't update that. There's no cryo fix available, etc. So there is a few more that we can do, but they're only medium priority now, which is good. What the proposal I was going to make is, well, it's good that we've got CVs that were some of the high priority CVs, or all of the high priority and some of the medium ones we know resolved, but we've still got the situation where some of our crates are, I guess, 5+ years old. So, and just because there's not a CVE in that, it might be that these are relatively infrequently used crates, so there's not the same level of security testing and checking against them. So what I proposed is that, and I think we discussed this on the VPTG, so this is kind of my comeback, was we used Dependabot to help keep them up to date. We decided we didn't want to have the group setting, the default group setting, which just mushes everything in the same PR because it would be too much of a mess, and things like the Rust VMM have got breaking changes and things like that, which require Rust version bumps and things. So, however, you could probably say, and I'm not 100% sure why Dependabot isn't working properly with our current configuration. It gets, well, I do know it gets confused because we've got workspace crates, like all of the crates within Runtime RS, for instance, and within Dragon Ball, which aren't at the top level. So Dragon Ball is its own workspace. So all of the Dragon Ball subcrates dependencies, for whatever reason, Dependabot can only look for the workspace cargo file in the top level. So it basically runs, sees that it's using a workspace version, and then goes, oh, well, I can't find the workspace version. There's something wrong, and errors. With this change, we're only looking at the versions, and I might need to update that now. We've moved the hypervisor, the runtime RS, to be workspace managed as well. I'm only looking at the top levels of the workspaces, so we shouldn't have that problem. And we've moved, with some help from routing, I've moved a lot of the crates to have workspace managed dependencies. The other change in here, well, we've got another one, is Rust VMM's has some issues with incompatibilities. When you bump a minor version, a patch version, it might have a breaking change API wise, so we don't want to update these. The other approach I've taken is, we had one extreme which we rejected, of putting every bump in the same group because it's impossible to like bisect and work out what goes wrong. The opposite of this is kind of the default situation, which I might be able to show you on my fork, is that if you don't have any grouping, then when you run the bump, you end up with multiple versions in different packages. So I'll see if I can find. No, I can't find a good one. That was when we had groups. Sorry about this. No. Sorry, I should have prepped. Basically, we can end up with a situation where we have the same package being bumped in. The most I've seen is 9 dependencies. But so like here, you can see tracing is in multiple. So yeah, we can end up with a bump to tracing rather than having one PR for it. We have 5 PRs, and one of them I saw is used in 9 of our different packages. So we have them all bumped. Long term, it would be amazing if we could have some kind of centralized management, but I don't know if that's even realistic. But yeah, so what I proposed in this PR is I kind of created some groups of the common patterns. So, for example, tracing is one of them, common things we see. So, the result of this one is that you end up with all of the bumps for a particular package across all components in a single PR. So, I don't know if I've got a good way of showing. Yeah, so like this one is the result of the Tokyo bump. Is we use Tokyo in 8 different packages. So if you use this rule here, then you will end up with a single PR that bumps Tokyo in all of the crates that use it. So my proposal, which I'm happy if people disagree, is that we try some groups to reduce the sheer amount of traffic we're going to get. Because I think when I tried it, we without grouping, it created 125 PRs for bumping, which will take us a very, very long time to go through the review list. So my proposal is that we try out groups. This is not an exhaustive list of groups either. It's just the ones I looked at based on that my personal when I tried things out in my fork, the common patterns. We can obviously extend these, but I figured that would be a balance between enabling us to progress with not having an absolute swamp of PRs, but also allow us to not have just one huge PR, which we can't merge because it doesn't pass the tests in. So, yeah, I will pause for see if people. I think people agreed that using Dependabot to update is a good thing on the VPTG. So the detail of how we do it with the grouping per cargo package is, I guess, the proposal I'm making, and I would suggest that we might want to try this out post 317, see how it goes. Obviously, if we don't have to merge any of the PRs, and if we decide it doesn't work, we can just revert. But yeah, any thoughts or comments on this approach? Okay. Well, got overwhelming indifference. So, okay, I guess I can make it available to review after the release and see if people want to take a look at it. But it doesn't sound like anyone is super opposed to it for now, anyway.
Well, the numbers you're giving are good. So
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you think it's worth trying, yeah, I I think the current status quo of having crates that are 5, 6 years old isn't really good enough. So I think we need to do some dependent bots. And yes, the approach of doing them one by one doesn't seem like it's going to work with 125. The approach of doing them all in one single big group doesn't seem to work because I turned it on and we tried it once and nothing passed and we went, oh, okay, which of these 125 effectively bumps was the one that caused the problem? Whereas this was, I'm aiming for a middle ground and it felt like grouping on cargo package name was the best middle ground. But if anyone's got a better idea for what we should group on, then also very happy to hear.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like obviously we don't want to have 100 PRs.
And just to be clear, we wouldn't get 100 PRs through anyway because the default, I don't think I overrode the default. Yeah, so there's a daily limit, and by default it is 5. So it's not a daily limit, sorry, a PR limit. So default it's only 5. So you will only have 5 Dependabot updates at a time. The security updates limit is separate, that's 10. So when I got 125, that was because I purposely set the limit to be like 10,000 because I wanted to see if we did 5 a day, how long, or 5 at a time, how long would it take us? And that was to see how many were actually theoretically there, and that's where I got that 125. So yeah, even if we did not group, we wouldn't get 125 on the PR backlog. It's just we'd get 5 at a time. It's just we'd have 25 lots of 5, I guess. So that was what felt like it wasn't yeah, wasn't necessarily sustainable. Cool. So the other thing I put on the list was we had a topic we didn't get to on the VPTG around lean and mean. So I didn't know. And again, I don't know if we've got enough people to discuss it now, but I thought it would be good to carry that over into an AC meeting. So this is about trying to identify things that are not supported or not maintained and deprecate them. So examples, I think Greg, I think you added this to the list. We've got, or no, I think you added the rootfs scripts. We've got a bunch of like rootfs test scripts which have never been run while I've been working on the projects, as far as I can tell. We've got some variants of the rootfs, like CentOS, which obviously, well, CentOS isn't. I don't know what version of CentOS it is, but it's not really supported, regardless of our own feelings. I think that's in the rootfs builder, and again Debian. It's not something we ever run or test. So yeah, I would suggest that if we've got code that we don't run, it's not maintained, we should consider removing it. Similarly, run K. I think it was Manasugi who was the main person who maintained that, who's not been on the community or contactable for quite a while. Kata Manager, similarly, we had a discussion about the approach, what we should be using for updates. Certainly for Kubernetes-based updates, we want to push people down the Helm route, and Stratovert is, a VMM that the Stratovert team kind of dropped, and then despite promising that they would stay in the community and keep it updated and maintained, have not. So we dropped the CI for both RunK and Stratovert probably a few months ago, but I think we at some point should have a discussion about whether we deprecate these features and then remove them from the code base to save us some of the hassle of the code kind of code burden, especially if we're trying to switch to runtime RS. If there's things that we don't need to support, that would be goodness, and the build burden. So we don't test RunK and Stratovert, but I have a feeling we might still build some of the artifacts. I might be wrong there, but if we've got a load of skipped builds, then we might as well just remove them. So yeah, I don't know if now is the right time to do it, but I think it would be good to. I think Zonko, you said 2025 is the year of lean and mean, so be good to get some progress and see if there's any other things that are on the list, any other features that people think we should put on a deprecate list. And it might be that that results in a load of people saying, no, we really want this feature and we'll come and maintain it, which is brilliant. And it is also good news.
Right. and one of the questions Ildiko asked, what's the goal for the next AC period is documentation,
Yeah.
right? We have so people pinging me, hey, I read in the documentation you have a LTS release, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Since when do we have a LTS release in Kata? So one of the really goals is for this year also to bump all the documentation that we have and add more documentation. And this would help also immensely if we do not have to document things that are not really supported. Otherwise, we are all dragging this tail of things that need to be documented, but we don't know the status of. And as you said, they came in, dropped in support, and went away. So yeah, let's see if we can get more action on that. But hopefully we can create a more lean and mean architecture of this.
Yeah, and Greg speaking. Do you hear me?
Yes,
we do,
loud and
Greg.
clear.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so yeah, just spent some time with watching, and it was really great. Went to the restaurant and stuff, and we could discuss. And part of that we discussed about Stratovit, and yeah, have confirmation that it's not really maintained, even internally in a way. Well, it looks like it was like a fire forget initiative, something like that. So yeah, some more reasons to get rid of this.
Yep. Cool. So I guess maybe this comes back to, I know we had a discussion about deprecation process, which we talked about on VPTG. I don't know if we wrote this up based on that, but yeah, maybe we need to. Yeah, I can't remember off VPTG whether we spent much time on the deprecation process or not, but I guess the next step is to get our deprecation process down and then start picking some of these features and following that process. Cool. So I guess that's something I don't know if anyone wants to volunteer to drive this or if it's something we just need to review VPTG discussion and the latest comments on that and see if we can come to a consensus and write up docs for that. But yeah, I think that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah,
Any
sure. because I don't think I will be able to really drive the initiative let's say the following weeks or months until things settles on my side, personal stuff.
Yep.
But so I would appreciate that someone takes over, but will try to help the most I can.
Yep, definitely. It's not on you, Greg, for this. So yeah, I'm not giving the action to you. So
Thanks.
cool. Any thoughts on this or any other topics anyone wants to discuss today? Okay. Apologies that I've been doing so much talking today, and double apologies if you were hoping there'd be a really nice short meeting. I guess the key takeaway is getting the 3.17.0 release out, and then we've got a few different actions that we can act on here. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that out, and yeah, and moving forwards and upwards is always good stuff. So I'll speak to you soon, either on Slack or on other calls. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Bye,
Steve,
thanks.
for leading the meeting again. It was really
You're
cool.
welcome.
And please CC me on the Rust story because I'm really interested in sorting this out because it's also pain in downstream. So
Yep.
we must find a middle ground, a good solution.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.